Yo, what's up? My name is Franco, and this is not a tech channel. It's not going to be a tech channel, and I don't really plan on covering tech very often. But no one sits in front of this much equipment without being into gear or tech or just fancy things in general. And a lot of you really enjoy knowing what kind of tech that someone uses to make videos or stream or just create stuff. And so today I'm gonna go over the equipment that I use to make videos as well as the equipment that I use to stream on Twitch. Now, I don't plan on making this a common thing. In fact, I'm currently working on some videos that you would come to expect on this channel. I'm gonna be reviewing some sneak and advanced flavors, the new ones, and I'm also gonna be doing some videos on posture. So please don't think that I'm changing the direction of this channel, but I do like covering some different kinds of stuff every once in a while. Something that commonly happens is people send me emails asking if I want to review this microphone or this monitor or this kind of stuff, and usually I turn them down because this isn't what I cover on this channel. But this channel is about gaming and health. I do a lot of content about health, but I'm trying to do some more content that centers around gaming. Today I'm going to be opening up this monitor that was sent to me because I think that I have a place for it in my workflow setup, and you'll see that. But it's not going to be a review about this, it's more going to be about the equipment that I use. So I'm going to start opening this up and we can check it out, and then I'll show you the camera and lights and microphones and everything that I use in case you guys are interested in knowing about that stuff to improve your own content. Because a common thing that I hear on this channel is your quality is high for such a small channel. And I think that's true because I put a lot of effort into it. And I don't mean that as a flex, I mean that more as, I put the effort into it, and it's an observation that I've made based off of the comments. So let's check it out, if you guys don't mind. This is supposed to be like a portable monitor that you can use to game or do different stuff. I have wanted to get something that I can monitor my video with when I'm recording videos, because I record everything straight to my camera and it's just on this tiny little screen over here and I can barely see it. And there have definitely been times where I didn't see that something was in the screen, and I wish that I had, and I would have if I had a larger screen to monitor it on. This thing's pretty nice. So I had the idea of using this monitor. It's by Lapao. Again, this was sent to me for free, but they didn't pay me to do any sort of review, and I'm not planning on reviewing it. I just wanted to show you guys what this looks like. It's a portable monitor that you can use for all sorts of things because it has a USB-C input as well as mini HDMI. I think that I'm gonna set it up somehow next to my camera so that I can monitor my camera feed, but I think that I could also use this when I'm streaming to read chat. You can never have too many monitors, right? So yeah, this is pretty nice. Cool. So I'm gonna grab this other camera over here and I'm gonna show you the equipment that I use. And this is just the equipment that I've kind of gathered based on my personal preference. And it's not necessarily like, let's just say it right now. The stuff that I use is super expensive, but I invested a lot into it because I wanted to start this channel off on the right foot. And I think that it worked. I don't think that you need fancy equipment to start a YouTube channel, but if your quality is really high, people are gonna notice. So let's start with the camera. The camera that I'm currently using is the Canon EOS R5. I use a 15 to 35 RF lens. If you're not really big into cameras, well, this is a mirrorless camera. It's really nice, and this lens goes really wide, but it can also zoom in a little bit. The settings that I'm usually using when I record videos is going to be a shutter speed of 1/50, aperture of 2.8, and an ISO of 400. Lately, ever since I got this camera, I started recording my videos in 4K, and I think that the quality is really good, but holy hell, is it a pain in the ass to edit. On the lens, I'm also using a polarizer filter. So that is the video portion of things. The audio portion of things is going to be this Zoom H4n Pro recorder. This is just an audio recorder, and I use it because it has nicer preamps in it than the actual camera does. So basically, I plug in this microphone. It's a shotgun microphone. It's super nice, and I use this for all of my YouTube videos since day one, and that is going to be plugged into this recorder. And then this recorder is going to have an output cable going to the camera. That high quality that people comment on did not come for free, and it's definitely taken a nice chunk out of my bank account, but this is something that I feel like investing in because I think that it's going to make a difference in these videos, and it has, because people definitely comment on it and they notice it and they appreciate it, and it makes people take my videos more seriously even though my channel is so small. In addition to this, I also use this camera for streaming and I use it for photography, and I've done video projects outside of YouTube with my work and with different things, so I try to use this as much as possible to really get my money out of it, and to me it's worth it. Now, do I need two cameras? Not really, but if you can see here, so this is the camera that I used to use, and this is an EOS R. And this is basically the earlier version of the camera that I'm using now. I still have use for a second camera, so for things like this, or for having two angles on stream. So now I have the EOS R, which I use as a secondary camera, and the EOS R5. Did I mention it's super hot in this room when I record videos? The lighting that I use is going to be these two giant lights. Well, this one's not really giant. This is the huge light that I use, and it has a really big light box on it. It's an Aperture 120D Mark II. I wanted a really high quality light that was gonna allow me to have really high quality video. If you didn't know, a big portion of how your video looks is how your lighting is. And this offers a really diffused, large amount of light, so it's really soft on my face. It looks really nice, and I can control it with a remote control. It's great. This one over here is just a regular ring light that I got off Amazon. It allows me to fill in the light on my left side, because if I just use this, then this left side of my face would be pretty dark. And this still looks good. I don't mind it, but it is kind of dark. It's very moody, and I just prefer to fill it in a little bit with this light. So that brings me back to this big screen thing here. If you want to check this out, it looks pretty cool. It's a pretty large screen, and if I can just figure out how I want to set this up, then it looks like I'll be able to do exactly what I was planning on doing, which is monitoring the footage from my camera. I'm gonna show you what my stream setup looks like because I use a lot of the same equipment, but in a slightly different way. Cool? All right. Let's check it out. All right, so when I'm streaming, this is the setup that I have. I use a lot of the same equipment, so I'm using the same camera and I'm using the same light, but when I stream I use a different microphone and the camera's set up a little bit differently. For starters, I'm gonna have my camera set to 60 frames per second. That's because when you have video next to a video game, people are just more used to seeing that higher frame rate. So I use 60 frames per second to make everything look pretty smooth. My light is gonna be the same light, it's just going to be in a different position. And instead of using that ring light, I'm actually gonna be using an Elgato key light to kind of fill this in. I also use a different microphone. I don't use the same YouTube microphone. I'm going to be using the Shure SM7B, which is what you're hearing me through right now. And I've actually never used this microphone for a YouTube video, so I'm really interested in how it's going to sound when I do this, but for simplicity's sake, that's what I wanted to do. This microphone, instead of going into some sort of external recorder, will actually be going into my Go XLR, which is what I use for my audio on stream and just when I'm using my computer in general. The headphones that I'm using now are the Arctis Pro Wireless, and there are some things I dislike about them, but in general I really like them because they're wireless and they sound good, and they have this cool system where you can just swap out the battery and the other one sits in the base station charging. So I really like these headphones, and it's what I use at my computer and what I use for streaming. So it looks like this. I have the camera sitting on this little tripod, and it just kind of sits on my desk and I adjust it how I need it. And I don't normally have this audio cable running to this that same audio recorder, but I'm gonna have that same lens, the 15-35, and the only difference is there's going to be a little HDMI cable that's going out to my computer over here, and there's gonna be a capture card in the computer that's capturing that HDMI signal from my camera. If I have two cameras set up, I'll probably set it up over here on a tripod and just aim this way, and I use it as a wide angle shot, so when I'm doing just chatting I can do that, and this angle is going to be a little closer in. Or sometimes I'll set it up back there because I do VR streams and I use that second camera to have this like VR camera setup that's pointing straight at me so you can see what I'm doing. And every once in a while I'll set it up with a green screen as well behind me if I feel like doing that much work. That's how I use the same equipment to do both YouTube and streaming. If you have any questions about this, I'd love to answer them. I know this isn't my typical video, but I thought it'd be interesting to show you what I like to use and how I use it. So if you like this kind of video, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Oh my God, it's happening. Gee. Airspeed too high. Brake, brake, brake. No, no, no! Ah!